In response to the mandate of the Department of Education that learning must continue despite the closure of schools brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, the JRS came up with its Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or BELCP, which gave way to the implementation of the Distance Learning Delivery Modalities, or DLDM, specifically modular learning modality through the use of self-learning modules. To promote the Bayanihan spirit amid the COVID-19 situation, the school conducted Brigada Eskwela partnership engagement activities. In adherence to the health protocols required by the IATF, 2 hand-washing facilities located at the junior and senior high school were donated by JRS alumni batch 1999. Aside from the hand-washing facilities, the GPTA, through the leadership of the President, Mr. Ronald Mamawag, donated 4 pieces portable hand wash worth 15,000. These facilities have been used by the faculty and staff since they are reporting to school and to be used by 2,426 learners when face-to-face classes will be allowed. The reproduction of self-learning modules and learning activity sheets was made possible through the generated resources amounting to 640,675, which were used to buy RISA machine, photocopier, band papers, ink, utility boxes, and other printing materials used in the reproduction of learning materials. The stakeholders of JRS supported the JRS Brigada Eskwela by donating essential items which are face masks, hand sanitizing materials, alcohol, face shields, gloves, thermal scanner, and ascorbic acid, which were included in the learners' kit that were distributed. The pandemic had greatly affected the learning process and development of our learners, giving a great impact in their development. The school, through the initiative of the 2 guidance counselors, distributed flyers about mental health to 2,426 learners, and conducted online talk show and virtual counseling to the 32 learners who need assistance to ease their burdens and anxieties through the project Reach Up. A virtual orientation meeting was also conducted to inform parents and stakeholders of the possible activities to be conducted by the school under the new normal. One of the activities was the pilot testing prior to the opening of classes. The project, Stakeholders Kaagapay sa Panahon ng Pandemya, was implemented to orient stakeholders on their roles in the implementation of the modular distance learning modality and other programs related to the successful implementation of activities during this time of pandemic. This time of crisis, the JRS has sustained the school organic vegetable gardening to help the 30 identified severely wasted students coming from the feeder barangays of the school. The yields produced were given to the severely wasted students as a part of the daily meals prepared by their parents so that they will become healthier. In addition to this, the student supreme government officers also took part in the implementation of Brigada Eskwela by spearheading a project called Gulayan sa Bakuran, which aims to motivate other students to remain productive even during these hard times. There was also a regular disinfection of classrooms and sorting rooms, which was conducted to prevent and minimize the spread of the virus under the supervision of the school nurse. The Project EPIC enforced general safety measures and health protocols in the workplace, prioritization of health and safety of the employees, instill proper health and hygiene etiquette. Clean and orderly school environment was also introduced and implemented. This is one of the innovations of JRS in line with the Department of Education on the policy directives of the DepEd Task Force COVID-19. Because the school has a very supportive partners and stakeholders, the total generated resources related to the COVID-19 situation is 2.7 million. This would have not been possible without our benefactors from private and public agencies who donated COVID-19 essentials in cash and in kind. The bayanihan effort to support the BELCP implementation was strengthened with the participation of its stakeholders in the distribution of SLMs and LAS. This involved the knowledge bearers, school officials, barangay officials, parents and volunteers who were tapped in the retrieval and distribution of modules to the learners coming from the 8 barangay clusters. The school is very lucky that the first Isabela Bus Van Operation Cooperative or FIBBOT had volunteered to distribute and retrieve modules from the different barangays of Cluster 4. After receiving a letter from the FIBBOT Cooperative President, Mr. Arlan F. Ramos, a MOA was signed to facilitate the smooth flow of the distribution and retrieval of learning kits in the 14 identified barangays. Effort of the Jones Rural School, the following programs were initiated. One of these programs is Stop COVID, a staff and teachers outreach program carrying out valiant and inspiring deeds with a total of 156 junior and senior high school students who were benefited from the said program as they received 500 pesos worth of grocery items. The fund amounting to 78,000 pesos was born out of the generosity of the JRS administration, faculty, and staff. Another project initiated by the school is the SBKC, Sagip Buhay Kontra COVID, by the JRS alumni, which aims to help the parents of the learners to augment their financial needs by giving cash and goods. A total of 155 families of our learners serve as the recipients who were given 400 pesos cash and 1 kilo meat. A total of 93,000 worth of cash and goods were distributed through this program. The construction of 1.5 million worth of JRS Amphitheater extension was made possible through the generosity of Congresswoman Attorney Eliza Shinatan of the Legislative District 4 of Isabela, which is currently being used as a receiving area in the distribution and retrieval of SLMs and LAS coming from the 8 barangay classrooms. This amphitheater is also intended for future use since it can be utilized as a classroom once the limited face-to-face classes will be allowed. Through its program and activities during the pandemic, the Jones Rural School has added a new meaning to the Filipino concept of unity. This only proves that we can make great things happen for our learners, even in the midst of a difficult situation.
Dito sa Jones Rural School, handa na kami para sa school year 2020-2021. Handang isip, handang bukas.
Sa Jones Rural School, handa na kami sa school year 2020-2021.